6 reasons why Tesla is failing, and they all have to do with design from Fast Company. This is some terrible nonsense, and I'll explain why, because it's just that bad. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. So this article is terrible. Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? Fast and Loose with the Facts Company is back at it again. Tesla's lost ground as an EV leader. Here's why. So yeah, deliveries plummeted in the first quarter of 2024, even after the launch of its long-awaited Cybertruck finger guillotine. Okay, so we've set the tone early. You're not going to be honest. Shut your finger in the hood of any vehicle. Go for it. If you believe this claim, please go to your car right now, open the hood, and shut your hand in it. I beg of you. So, yeah, even after the launch of it, how come deliveries are down when their new product, which is just getting ramped, is not yet fully ramped? Because it's not fully ramped. There you go. Happy to help. Glad to clear that up. It's very smart. Big brains out there. Yeah, the first decrease since 2020. It's an unmitigated disaster, says Dan Ives. Yeah, even in a slower than anticipated EV market, which links to Ford slowing their stuff. You know what? Ford Lightning laid off 2/3 of their employees. Why? I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that just 2 weeks earlier they got a Cybertruck and tore it apart and looked at what they're up against. I'm sure that's definitely not the reason. Surely. For reference, other brands' sales have increased in Q1. 62% for Hyundai, 88% for Kia, 65% for Toyota, and 62% for BMW over their Q1 2023 numbers. You know, in Q1 of 2023, all those brands were deeply down from their historic norms. They didn't have parts, they said, and maybe they didn't. You're looking at them gaining ground, but they're really regaining some of the lost ground. None of these companies have had their best quarter ever. Maybe they will, but it's a little too soon to be tap dancing on anyone's graves. Fast and Loose Company. It's been a total of 15% year-over-year boost for the EV industry, even counting Tesla's plunge. Yes, isn't that great that others are starting to make EVs? If you start at 100% market share and somebody else builds one car, guess what? You lost market share. There you go. But it's not a surprising dive. It's just the first clear warning of what we said last year. Bad design has turned Elon Musk's success into a mess. I could have told you, anyone could have told you, the numbers weren't going to be exciting. I projected 431, 790 something. I don't remember. 795. I got to within 1,571 cars because I follow this stuff very closely. If your analyst didn't get as close as this random clown, you got the wrong analyst. And I'm going to tell you, 0.36% is pretty close. It's pretty close. It's industry leading. That's why you're here. But it's not a surprising dive. It's just a clear warning, you guys. Here's a list of most everything that Tesla needs to fix if it wants to hold on to its rapidly slipping crown. Oh, God. Stale model line. A professional car designer, never ask a barber if you need a haircut, who writes design critiques for The Autopian, told me last year Tesla's design feels stale. The Model S is 10 years old. Another year's passed since our conversation and nothing has changed. Its other cars, 3X and Y, look like spitting image cousins of the Model S. They're the same car with different proportions. The Model 3 had a refresh like 4 months ago. It looks quite different. You could argue that the occupant home, the part where the people sit, hasn't changed, but everything else has. 50% of the parts are new. It's a new car. It doesn't look as happy. It looks more aggressive. It looks more angry. It's a different car, but okay. The Model S and X have been refreshed, but okay. And the Cybertruck is radically different. What are you talking about? The styling feels stale. Come on. While the company routinely updates mechanical parts and software, yeah, they do, in ways no one else does. Clark says Tesla's physical design is essentially exactly the same as it was in 2013. Essentially is doing not just most of it's doing all the heavy lifting. Essentially, huh? No. Only one of these cars existed in 2013, but cars have a design philosophy that often carries through across the brand. BMW, in any given 5-year period, most of their models made will look very similar to the other 5, and you can go out 10, 20, 30 years on some brands like Porsche. Are you saying the same about Porsche? The Boxster hasn't changed in 60 years. The 911 is so stale, you guys. I mean, you could argue that, but no one is. If Tesla implements new models fairly quickly, adding at least 1 or 2 models, it will not be able to compete on the same level. Okay. Musk released the Cybertruck, but it's been a design disaster of its own, tallying up design infractions left and right. Oh God, this like hurts my soul. It feels like I'm trying to explain basic algebra to a hive of bees. These angry wasps don't care about math. They only care about other things. Okay. Yeah, it needs to compete with the BMW iX. No, it doesn't. The Porsche Cayenne EV. I'm going to just tell you right now, you could probably buy 2 Model X's for the price of a modestly equipped Cayenne, and it needs to compete with cheap ones like the Leaf, the Zoe, and the BMW i3. The i3 hasn't been on sale in North America for some time now that I'm aware of. Maybe it's in Canada, but it is not a big seller. If it is still for sale, then they're not selling. It is not a competitor. But okay, you really think the Leaf, that people say, I'm going to buy a Leaf or a Tesla, those people don't exist. I'm just going to tell you, there's 3 of them, and all 3 of them will leave a comment saying, I'm one of them. Great. It's not how it's done. Stale model line, bland design. I call it blandly handsome, Clark told me. Clark, what have you designed? May I see your designs? Because you sound like one of those movie critics who's written 100 scripts and can't get one picked up. Maybe Mr. Clark is, in fact, a genius designer. But you can look at other genius designers and see that they actually like these. So, I don't know. Guarantee you, there's at least one who's better known than Mr. Clark who thinks the Cybertruck is legendary. To be fair, Cybertruck looks unusual. Yeah. You may like it or hate it, but it's definitely not bland. Is that good enough, though? Is that a good thing? Depends who you ask. Oh, well, we found one person, Frank Stevenson, who called it cold, sterile, and almost repulsive. Okay. Production problems. And in the case of Cybertruck, production problems. New and futuristic can often translate to slow and broken on the production line. And in the case of the Cybertruck, the design made it extremely hard to produce, resulting in delayed timelines. You don't get the design. I get it now. You don't get it. 48 volt made it harder to design, but easier to build. The whole idea is for volume, for a lower cost per unit, you absolute clown hat. Tesla blamed the supply chain. In this article, I'm not seeing anything that would definitively say that Tesla's the one saying it. Maybe that's what they're saying. Musk said that Tesla would not launch any new vehicle due to supply chain constraints. They didn't have batteries. The batteries they wanted for the truck, they didn't have. And the factory was still being built. You can use your own eyeballs to see that. If you want to build the truck, you have to have a factory in which to build it. And it wasn't complete. Not in time to get that ramped and running. Musk admitted that the straight panels were indeed hard to make, requiring impossible manufacturing specs. Oh, we're back to that Micron comment. Poor quality. Oh yeah, the quality's very bad. So I can speak for myself. I've had 0 quality issues. Fewer than I've had with any car I've ever owned. Fewer? Yeah, let me think. Yep. I mean, I'm only 9,000 miles in, and you shouldn't have problems that early, but I have before. Even on expensive cars. Musk's decision led to several quality issues, as seen in the oversized touchscreen added to the Model S in 2012. Wow, we're going back to 2012. Fast and loose with the facts company right here, you guys. The industry uses car-grade suppliers to execute designs on such components as seats for a reason. Well, yes, but Tesla does use automotive grade. Automotive grade isn't always what you think it is. It's not like a stamp of approval. It has a lot more to do with interference, with like RF shielding. It's like when somebody says, this is military grade. What they mean is, this is the cheapest thing that passes the minimum specifications. Number 5, no dealerships. That's pretty dumb. Tesla has trouble servicing customers who are having problems because the company cuts corners with its customer relations. A very poor user experience design choice. They don't run actual dealerships, which means you can't take your car away and give you a courtesy car and a nice cappuccino. Okay, so I've been to a lot of service centers and absolutely every last one of them had drinks. I haven't needed service. I've been to them for speaking engagements or to attend events. Water, coffee, I mean, it's there. But most service appointments are not handled in there. They come to your house. And this isn't a design issue. And number 6, broken promises. Oh, let's get into the broken. Musk has promised full autonomous driving, drive you anywhere through any conditions without ever needing to touch the wheel for nearly a decade. Now, you'll notice that that part is not linked because that is not true. Companies including Volvo using Waymo technology and Mercedes have beaten Tesla at this game. The fudge they have. That's not true. Why didn't you include Cruise? They had him beat too until we discovered the extent to which the digital Sherpas were doing the actual driving. And Waymo technology, I suspect, isn't scaling because they're also using mechanical Turks to move their chess pieces. That's why they won't go on highways. If there's a failure, the speed would be too great. 10-mile-an-hour accident, not as big a deal. The other ones are failed to meet original release dates for all Tesla vehicles. Okay, I think I'm done because that is the easiest lie to debunk in the world. The Model Y hit the market early. It hit the market ahead of schedule. Oh, you guys are just garbage. How do you sleep at night? Who we got here? Who's writing this? Jesus, Diaz. Okay. Oh, so bad. Do I even want to look any further? So many broken promises. Okay, so we're at the end. Thank goodness. Because companies like BMW, Ford, Toyota, they all enjoy around a 60% loyalty rate. Okay, but Tesla's is higher. Tesla's is in like the 80s, I think. And Columbia Business School professor emeritus Bruce Greenwald has already said, 20 years from now, you really think that they're going to dominate the auto market? Not a chance. Well, there's an old saying, those who don't do teach, and those who can't teach gym class. And those who can't teach gym class are Professor Emeritus Bruce Greenwald. I'm pretty sure that's how the saying goes. This drop is not just a bleep. It's a sign of much bigger trouble ahead. Well, bleep to you too, Jesus Diaz. This is a genuinely bad article, genuinely badly written, riddled with inaccuracies, and just a general lack of understanding of what the company is, how it operates, and you should feel bad because you've done a bad job. It's pretty embarrassing, and I feel bad for you. Also worth pointing out that delays on FSD are industry-wide. Everyone in 2016 was making such big strides that they were sure that they and everyone would have it solved by 2020. It didn't happen because the problem turned out to be much bigger than anyone inside the industry understood. It's not like people in the industry were saying, oh my gosh, Tesla's making crazy claims. No, they were saying, Nissan was saying, we will have level 5 by 2020. That's what Nissan said up until about 2017, 2018, when they quietly stopped mentioning it. It turns out the problem is really, really hard. So what did I miss? What did I misunderstand? Leave it in the comments below. You know what you got to do. Stay tuned and juicy, all that. And if you feel like helping me out, I know the market's down and it's a tough time to offer support, but I'm here come heck or high water. And your support is how I get to keep doing this. It doesn't hurt my feelings if you don't. If you don't get a chance to support me, that's all right. Just subscribe, like, do all the usual things, leave a comment, and stay tuned, stay juicy. And I cannot wait to hear from you, clever robots, on the flippity flop.